Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Bearded Vlog, and this week I will be talking about being offended. So, thus, onto the intro. So, earlier this week, news came along about Apu from the long successful show The Simpsons is being taken off. The reason for this is because he is portraying a stereotype of the Indian people. And from what I understand, people, not necessarily Indians, are offended by him because of the stereotyping, while ignoring other stereotypes the show has. This, unfortunately, is only the tip of the iceberg, and we as a society have been crashing into this iceberg for some time now. To understand it simply, we need to go back to assuming people's gender a few years back, where people didn't want to be known as either male or female. You know, the only two genders we've had since, life started. Now, I do get wanting to be an individual, being and kind of having your own identity kind of thing. But there are things you can't go against, and gender identity is one of them. This, plus the internet, kick-started the I'm Offended group of people. You know, what I find funny about most of these people, they're mostly white people, predominantly white anyways, who are being offended by things that would normally offend other races, but don't. Funny, isn't it? The problem I find with this is that there are people who aren't really offended. They're just joining the bandwagon and sharing the stuff on Facebook, on Instagram, or Twitter. This is thus spreading the dislike, as it were, which is how we got to losing one of the most beloved characters on The Simpsons. Now, yes, stereotypes and stereotyping have been around for ages, but they exist for a reason. So why is it now such an issue? Now, and I personally think that the whole PC, political correctness, gone mad, hasn't helped. For those also not in the know, Kleenex has been under fire by this a fair bit recently, because they're having to change the name of their man-sized tissues to just extra large. And that is just only one small part of it. That can be traced back to gender equality and everyone wanting to be treated equal. Now, I don't have a problem with everyone being treated equal. But there is a point when you can't be equal with everybody. You can't treat everyone equally. And there's a lot of plain effects into it. And I hate to say the top of the list is gender. It was one of them. Things like height and weight can affect how you're gonna. Sorry, hair in my mouth. How people are gonna be treated. Ethnic background. A lot of people still treat certain ethnic backgrounds differently, and religion being the biggest of it all as well, because some people Because when you want to try and treat people equally, sometimes the religion comes in and demands, well, no, I need this, I need that. Therefore, instantly, you're not going to be able to be treated equally as everyone else. And once people realize this, once people kind of realize the differences and that people are just different, it's all going to be better. You have to remember, someone being different isn't a bad thing. And it never will be. It just means they're different. There's also no reason to be offended on their behalf. And therein lies the real problem. People get offended by things that don't actually affect them. They're getting offended for people who aren't even offended in the first place. The internet, of course, hasn't helped. I touched on this a little bit earlier. But it hasn't helped because now everybody has a voice to speak with. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. More people talking means more people can understand one another. And the problem is no one else is actually listening. And like the problem with it is that the real problem is all these people who are being offended are only offended online. Why are they just doing it online? Why aren't they actually being offended in real life, out there in the real world? But I'll tell you why. It's similar to the difference between a group of people and one person. Now, a group of people, they're all going to be kind of making the same way. More often than not, one person out of that group isn't going to stand up and say different. Everyone else is saying it. I'll just go with the group and say it as well. You pluck one person out of that group, talk to them alone, you're going to find out what they really believe, what they're really thinking. And that's what it is. The only problem is, though, with the internet, it's, oh, I don't want to put my opinion on the internet. It's going to get downgraded. It's going to get attacked. Well, yeah, it is, because other people aren't going to agree with you. But that's not a reason to not put your opinion on the internet. And I think a lot of people forget that opinions are opinions. They're not fact. They're not right. They're not wrong. They're people's fucking opinions. Right. I believe I've been ranting long enough on a subject that I could easily go on for days about. So, I'll ask you all what you think. Are you really offended by all this stuff going on? Or are you just being offended because everyone else is? Or do you just not care? As per usual, all links to my social media stuff will be in the description down below. Please like and subscribe. Ring that bell for any notifications as well. Don't forget, because, ring the bell. And until next time, Beardy out.